Here to help answer this question, Florida attorney Brian Silver and Florida criminal defense attorney Micheal Gottlieb. Great to have you both here. This is messy. This is really messy. I'm a former prosecutor. If I've got a cooperating witness who's the hitman, I want that testimony coming in clean. Now he's reneging. He's saying it's false testimony. What's going on here, Brian?
Well, good evening, Vinny. Good evening, Mr. Gottlieb. I hope everybody's doing great. I'm sure the prosecutors are not having that good of an evening. You don't want to hear that one of your star witnesses is throwing around the words false in testimony, and there's discussion about withdrawing a plea, because if he does that, that means all bets are off and they lose a very important witness. I don't think it necessarily means that their case is over. There's a lot of other very strong circumstantial evidence, such as the connection that these two defendants have to this gentleman. But it definitely throws a monkey wrench in the situation. And let's face it, she is represented by a very capable lawyer who absolutely will delve very deeply on this subject.
Yeah, very deeply. Micheal, here's the way I'm looking at this. Like, to prove this case, right? Because Henry Tenon is the one, like he's the gunman. He is the one who actually takes the life of Jared Bridegan. But you've got to connect him all the way to Shanna Gardner, because everyone's looking at this case and say, okay, Shanna Gardner's the mother of the children. She's the ex-wife. Like, she's like the one potentially, according to prosecutors, pulling the strings here. But if Tenon's not going to admit it and connect himself at least to her husband, now you've got to prove all of that. Can they, though? Can they make the connection all the way back to Shanna?
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on, Vinny. Hey, Brian, how are you? Of course, I think they can make that connection. There's a couple ways in which you do that. There's a paper trail. There's money. There's a connection as a renter to Fernandez Saldana and Mr. Tenon. Plus, Mr. Tenon, even though he's claiming now that he gave false testimony, he already gave testimony. So you can use that prior testimony to impeach him. Maybe he's got buyer's remorse. He's sitting in jail for 15 years. Maybe somebody did get to him. He pled guilty to murder too. There's other evidence as well. His truck was found at or seen at or near the scene. The tire that was placed in the roadway matches a tire that was found at Fernandez Saldana's residence. So, and then there's a connection between Shanna Gardner. She was in a very difficult divorce situation. She has a motive. That's a beautiful thing for a prosecutor, something they never need to prove, but they have in this case. And so when you can tie all three of them together, even without Tenon's statements, I think the prosecution can easily get a guilty verdict in this case.
Well, I don't think anything's easy when Baez is on the other side. He has a way, especially with Florida juries, right? So Brian, what does it do to the case now? Right now, there's two defendants. If he withdraws his plea, do we now put three defendants on trial at once? Do we have separate trials for him and for the other two? Does that change the dynamic of the way this is going to look in front of the juries? We already have two juries. Are we going to put a third jury inside the courtroom?
So, first of all, I don't think it's such a foregone conclusion that he's going to withdraw his plea, because it's not up to him. It's going to be up to his judge. And when a person pleads guilty to a charge in criminal court, and anybody who's ever actually observed the process, you know, that judge goes through a whole slew of questions to make sure that the person knows what they're doing, they're aware of the consequences. I mean, they even ask them, you know, things like, have you used any medications that might impair your judgment today? So for him to get past the hurdle of reopening his case, it's not automatic. It's going to be difficult. But the fallout to the prosecutors, they definitely are going to have to reevaluate how they go about things, because now, instead of him being a friendly force in their case, he's now an enemy. He's now someone that they need to battle with. It's just another hurdle. And frankly, you know, I don't know how wise it is for this gentleman to trade a murder 2 conviction for murder 1, where the state is seeking the death penalty. He might be making a very, very big mistake. Guilty or innocent, he might be putting himself on the chopping block. I hate to say it. I don't know how wise of a decision it would be for him to reopen his case, because if he reopens his case, he's back to square zero. He's now in the crosshairs. But the prosecutors will definitely have to take it from square one. But the way I see it is as follows. They arrested him and charged him with the crime because they thought they could win. It's just going to mean more work for them. I don't know that it necessarily translates into a weaker case.
Let me ask you this, Michael. What happens if he doesn't withdraw, but testifies, gets called by the state, and all of a sudden he's telling a different story on the witness stand? Can prosecutors overcome that?
It certainly wouldn't be the first time that's happened. It wouldn't be the first time that's happened, right? But he's already given a statement under oath. So again, a good prosecutor is going to go through that statement line by line and say you were telling the truth when you gave that statement. And they'll go through the evidence of the crime scene. There are things that he's been able to say that only he, as the shooter, would know. Where he shot from, how he placed the tire in the roadway.
Well, I think the story's going to change, though, relative to the involvement of the other two. Like that's what I think the change is going to be. He may not change his testimony about actually pulling the trigger, but he may suddenly say, well, you know, Shanna didn't know anything. It was just Mario or something like that.
Right, and that's incredibly plausible, and I think Shanna's probably the easiest one, you know, to exculpate in a case like this, because she doesn't have the same connections that Saldana Fernandez does, or Fernandez Saldana does, and the money transfers aren't from Shanna; they're from Fernandez Saldana to Tenon, and he had a relationship there. So she's certainly the easiest person for him to say, look, she had nothing to do with this, and she may walk. Anything's possible.
Well, that brings us
interesting.
Yeah. All right. Guests are staying with us. Coming up next.